Today, Frontier rolled Horizons into the base game of Elite Dangerous. That means that, right now, everyone has access to the Horizon season, regardless of whether or not you actually purchased it. Whilst many people will no doubt already have the expansion, there's still plenty of people out there that didn't actually pick it up. So for those of you new to Elite and new to Horizons, here's a look at everything included with it. So, if you're wanting to jump back into Elite, or if this is your first time with Horizons, then there's a whole galaxy of updates waiting for you. Horizons was released way back in December of 2015, and included 2 years worth of updates over 2016 and 2017. A further year of updates was included in 2018 in the Beyond season, and a good chunk of that was exclusive to Horizons owners. I thought now then would be a good time to have a look at all of these updates, so that those of you who never touched it will know what to look out for and what to expect. Basically, all the content that you have access to that you previously wouldn't have done if you didn't have Horizons. Now, on a side note, some of you may be wondering why Horizons is now essentially free to all owners of Elite. Well, Frontier haven't gone into details on the why of it. However, this is a pretty much standard practice with MMOs. With a new update, Odyssey, due for release within the next 5 months or so, it makes sense to package up all the current versions of the game into a single title. That way there isn't a ton of separate purchases to make, just basically Elite Dangerous and then the Odyssey update available later. Also, for those of you who have already purchased Horizons, Frontier have added some paint jobs into the game for you. This comes in the form of an Azure paint job that can be applied to all ships and all ship-launched fighters. So, what content do you have access to if you've now got Horizons and previously didn't? Well, Horizons allows for landing on airless worlds. This includes both moons as well as planets of a huge variety on different sizes. These planets include rocky, icy and metallic worlds. Any planet with an atmosphere, regardless of how thin that atmosphere is, remains off limits and cannot be landed on. In order to traverse the surface of these worlds, players have access to an SRV, that's the Surface Recon Vehicle. The module to deploy these can be fitted at an outfitting screen in stations. Essentially then, with an SRV, you are free to drive more or less everywhere over planets. Some planets also contain outposts, which are basically the equivalent of stations. There are various missions that can be undertaken on planets. Some of these include going up against surface installations. Now, there's literally hundreds of billions of landable worlds in Elite, so there's plenty of places to land and explore, although to be perfectly fair, many of the locations will eventually start to look very similar to each other. But that said, there's also still many surprising locations that can be discovered. I will link some of these in the video description for you to go and check out. The graphics for landable planets were also improved in 2018 with the Beyond update. With Horizons comes the ability to modify and upgrade ship weapons and modules. In many cases, these improvements can be pretty significant. The upgrades are performed at special locations by select NPCs called engineers. Before you can use them, each engineer needs to be unlocked by performing specific tasks for them. Once unlocked, you can use their services by providing special resources known as materials. The materials need to be collected in a multitude of different ways, some of which can be fairly time intensive. Fortunately, material traders are also available at various stations. These allow you to exchange one type of material for another, making the process of gathering what you need that bit easier. Essentially then, to compete on an even playing field, players will almost certainly want to at least partially upgrade their ships. Others will likely want to go all out to make the best possible ship they can. Engineers do open up plenty of activities to pursue, although they can be time intensive. Cmdr Exigeous has perhaps one of the best engineer guides out there. Do take a look at his videos, which you can find linked below. The Guardians were the first alien race to actually be mentioned in Elite Dangerous, at least in terms of being able to access something that they created. And the reason for this is quite simple. They don't have a physical presence in the game. However, many traces of their ancient society can be found. These include surface-based ruins as well as elements of their technology. In addition to these surface ruins, the Guardians also had a number of beacons located around the galaxy. These are truly massive structures that form a part of the process of unlocking access to Guardian-based technology. I'll talk a little more about that tech further into the video. Garden-based areas then have cropped up on a number of different times over the years, and each time requiring access to planetary surfaces. If you want to check out this stuff, then I've linked my previous videos below. There's plenty to take a look at. Multicrew is the ability to remotely enter another player's ship and form a part of their crew by, for example, controlling their weapons or perhaps even piloting their ship-launched fighter. This is a feature exclusive to Horizons. However, it's hard to talk about Multicrew without also talking about the many problems that came along with it. In short, when Multicrew was added to Elite, many felt as though something within the game actually broke, and some even say that it has never been quite the same since. Multicrew then is still not what could be classed as entirely stable, and it's also one of the very weak areas of the game, which, to be fair, is far from what many people expected when it was initially announced. But that said, a lot of people do still find use for it. The Thargoids, the second alien race to actually be mentioned in Elite Dangerous and the first to have a physical presence, are very much heavily tied into the Horizons expansion. In order to successfully fight the Thargoid interceptors, players will need weapons that are exclusive to Horizons. The initial wave of weapons came in the form of anti-Xeno weaponry, which were only available from outposts on planetary surfaces. The improved wave of weapons which came second were based on Guardian technology, and again, in order to unlock these, access to planetary surfaces was required. Thargoid combat is an area of the game which many people really do enjoy, and it can also be quite a challenge. The road to being able to participate, though, is a fairly long one. If you have any interest at all in fighting Thargoids, then I would once again highly recommend Cmdr Exigeous and his great Fighting Thargoids videos. There is more to Thargoids than just fighting, however. Dotted around the galaxy are some amazing Thargoid ground bases. These are well worth a look at and have some interesting puzzles surrounding them. Linked below, you can find my previous videos on Thargoid structures and how to interact with them. Additionally, there are a number of human surface settlements that have been attacked by Thargoids, and these are located in various places, and each has its own unique story. Again, you know where to find more details on these. They're certainly very nice locations to check out. Now, Horizons also has access to a number of exclusive ships, which will be new to you if you didn't have access to Horizons before. On screen right now, you can see a list of those ships. So that then pretty much covers most of the major additions that have been included with Horizons over the years. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.